Okay, so continuing from where we left off. Um, so we have a platform game. We'll just run it, and then we're going to back it up because we don't want to have anything bad happen to it. So as you can see, you can move and you can jump. So that's good. So what's next? Let's just back it up first. We're going to create a new save as platformer underscore 2. So there's 2 files now. So that's good. So if we make any screw ups, we can always revert back to platformer 1. So now we got to, you'll notice that the gravity is still a little bit floaty in this. So yeah, when you press jump, the jump, see, it's still a little bit floaty. So what we'll do is we'll go to rooms and double click room 0, and we've got speed here. See, the speed of the room is how many frames per second the whole game is. So most games are 60 FPS these days, or a lot of them are, but there's some that aren't. So depending on what you're going for, I really don't give a crap about frame rates as long as it's a fun game. But we'll set this to 60 anyway because it's the kind of speed, the right speed for our game. So now we rerun the game. And see, he falls a lot faster, he moves, or she moves a lot faster. It's pretty cool. So yeah, this is the kind of with Mega Man when you jump, it's sort of like the same speed. So it's kind of neat. Yeah, jump around. So yeah, what's next? What should we do next? That is the question. Well, it depends entirely what you want to do. So we've only got 2 sprites at the moment, the ground and the player. So we'll add a couple more. We'll go duplicate this one, call it SBR underscore um, solid, I guess, and we'll call it. We'll change the color of it to dark purple. So there we go, dark purple. Now we're going to duplicate this again. Call this one SPR through. Then we go to edit sprite, and we'll just change it to a lighter purple. So, oh, whoops, I forgot to fill it in. There we go. So now that is the sprite. Awesome. So now the whole idea of these is we want to make blocks that we can pass through. So I'm going to go to objects, create a whole new object. Yeah, insert object. We'll call this one obj solid, and it's going to be this. And we're going to use a parent. So what is a parent? A parent is basically, as it would be with, a parent and a child. So you've got like so if we set block as parent, then it'll have the same properties as like with player as block does. So it's kind of hard to explain. So basically, instead of having to go add event collision with object 3, which is a solid, which I've named it solid. Well, I don't know why it's coming up with that. I just hit OK. Oh yeah, it's renamed it. Yeah, instead of going add event collision object solid as well as object block, then you'd have a massive list of stuff here, which you can do. I mean, it doesn't matter, but with this, it's basically just acting like block. So that's neat. If we stick it in the game, it should just work as block. Just create it as solid though. Okay, let's just try it out and see if it works. All the collision properties should be exactly the same as it is with block. So even walking into it, hopefully you shouldn't get stuck. No, you shouldn't. That's great. So that's as far as it'll go. Jumping on it. That's yeah. There we go. I mean, depending on how fast you want your game to, if you want to change the room speed again, you can. But this is the speed I want to go with because it's I don't know. I just think it's pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, we've established that these purple blocks are the same as the black blocks. So how do we pass through them? Because at the moment we can't do that. We've got we'll stick them in a position where we possibly can. Just see underneath you hit it and you fall down. So that's quite neat. So if you playing Mario or whatever, you could have like a coin block and it's like bing bing bing. So yeah. But you can from here you can do whatever you want. So we're gonna go insert object obj excuse me, and then go to sprite and go to through. So this one is going to be visible but not solid, and parent, we're not going to have a parent because it's just going to be like a pass-throughable block. So what do we do from here? Well, we'll go back into solid, click with the right mouse button, go to add event, go to step, and now we can add whatever we want. So if we go to code, execute code, let's see, how would we write this? So if obj player dot y plus 1 is larger than should we, no, is smaller than, oh yeah, is larger than, actually is larger than self, oh actually no, yeah, self dot y plus 1, then oops, and then go instance change, no, change obj through, oh, I haven't named this properly yet. Whoops. Through. Okay, good. OJ through, perform events, and then just put a 0 there. Alright, that should work. There might be some problems we'll encounter, but we'll see. Yeah, okay, we'll try that out. So if we're underneath it, now it should turn into through, which is the lighter color. Yep, see? Now, at the moment, you can jump through it, but you can't jump on it. We're going to just move them down a smidge because yeah, he won't be able to jump on it once we've managed to execute it properly. So we go to OK, OK. Now we go to the through block, the invisible one. Well, not the invisible one, but the one that's you can pass through. We go to add event, step, and then we execute a piece of code. And this code is going to be if player dot obj player dot y plus 10. We'll just say for now is smaller than self dot y minus 1, then okay, now we can go instance change obj solid in 0. Okay, so what this is doing is saying if the player, so this is for the through block. So if the player's underneath the player is like 10 pixels, if that area, if the 10 pixels underneath the player is smaller than, like, I mean literally, like if it's underneath, if it is underneath this through block, which is the above position. So -1, of course, we talked about is up, and +1 will be down for y. So yeah, it's hard to explain, but I'll try and explain it. So yeah, basically it's just saying if the bottom of the character is, oh, see, we've got stuck in there now because it's only 10 pixels. So I'm thinking that what if we just go 64? There we go. Yeah, because okay, so it's checking if 64 pixels underneath the player, so that would be about like here somewhere. If this area here is above the purple, then it'll go solid. I mean the pink, it will go purple. So yeah, it'll go solid. So yeah, that's what it's doing, and that's it. That's your basic through block. I don't know. I'm going to go into more detail. We'll do a recap, and I'll show you what I mean. So. So the solid block that we had, that was exactly like block, it's fully solid. So what we've got, the code for that is if underneath the player by 1 pixel is larger than underneath this purple block, if underneath the player is below the bottom of this block, then it will turn into the through block, which is the bright pink one that we've got here. So when that happens, it will execute this code when it's changed into this object. If player underneath the player at 64 pixels precisely underneath the player, if that area is below, so if it's smaller than self dot y minus 1, so if it's smaller than that, so basically if it's if the character is above the above this pink block here, it'll turn it into a solid. So that's basically it. Sorry, I probably overcomplicated that a bit, but you get the gist anyway, hopefully. If not, just watch again how I did it, if you're interested in making it. I know some people probably find this a bit boring, but I've had some positive feedback, and I thought I would do another video based on it, just to show like the progress, the process, I should say, of how to make a game. So yeah, that's invisible blocks done. It's piss easy, wasn't it? I think it was. And then you've got, so now we want to make like an attack button or something, don't we? So our script that we made in our very first video, we've just got moving right, moving left, and jump. That's all we have. So we've set variables for that. We'll set these variables in the under the player in the create event. So when the player is first created, it will create global.r, global.l, and global.jump, which these are all here to, they're just random variables that I've created. I've just decided to name them R and L and jump because I want them to be able to monitor whether the character is jumping or not, or whether the button's been pressed. So these are basically just for when the buttons are being pressed. Gamemaker has its own way of doing this, so you can be like keyboard check VK underscore right. This is just the way it's written. It's kind of complicated looking, but don't worry about it. You don't have to have this here. So this would be checking if the button is pressed anyway. So I just created a variable on top of this so I can monitor it and control it a little bit easier. So instead of writing, because if I want to change the keys later on, I can easily do that with by changing, where is it? And these here, this is where it all sets it up. So when global.r and that is first created, you'll see there's a 0 there. I'll just get rid of this. There's all zeros here, so it all just sets everything to 0 as soon as the player is created. Then when it executes this piece of code, which is in the step event here, it executes the script, it'll run through this. So it's running through gravity first, and then it'll go, oh, global.r, that's that variable you set when the character was first created. So I know what you're talking about, and L and jump. So what it's doing is it's setting that from 0 to, from the 0 we made by default, to keyboard check right, keyboard check left. So what you can do is you can have like another object or something that you can have change the keys. So you can be like, oh yeah, if you press the, like, say you've clicked something or whatever, and it's like, yeah, do you want to change the key, or like the jump key? And so you press whatever key, and it'll lock that in place as the jump key. So it's easier to customize your controls later on if you so wish. So it's just really handy. But anyway, we were going to talk about another variable we're going to create. This time we'll call it attack. Okay, so go global dot attack equals 0. Okay. All right, so now we go to this and go global dot attack equals keyboard underscore check, and it'll be an ORD, speech mark thing, and then capital X, speech mark thing, and then there, and closing brackets. So here we go. It's checking if it'll be, so our attack button now is X, the X key. So that's fun. Because now we got another button to play with. So depending on what you want to do with it, you can have it shoot, you can have it just attack. We'll create something anyway. That's let's go duplicate this, or we can just create a new one. It saves you creating a new one if it's just going to be the same shape, in which case this is. So I'm gonna call this sprite attack, I guess. And we're gonna change the color of it to yellow and just color that in as yellow. So now we have a yellow block just sitting here doing nothing. Great. So how do we turn it into something cool? Well, we'll create a new object and we'll call it obj attack. Awesome. And then set the sprite to a yellow block. So that's cool. So we need to go back to our script again, don't we? To do anything to do with this. So we'll move left, move right, and jump and all that stuff. So what we want to do is press enter a few times down the bottom here to give us some space. We'll start it at 75. We'll just go // attack. Oh, I should probably just do it like that. Keep it consistent. So this is going to be the attack now. So how do we code that in? Well, if global dot attack is equal to 1, and instance underscore number opening bracket obj attack is smaller than 1, then execute this. Okay, so basically this is saying if we're pressing the attack button and there is no object attack on screen at all, then it'll create instance create underscore create x y obj attack. Cool. Okay, so that is that. So the reason why I've got a sort of like a limit of how many you can have on screen is because when you're pressing the key, it'll just spam a whole bunch of them, and you don't want that to happen because it'd just be a pain in the butt. I mean, who knows, you might, but you don't want to. You want to kind of limit what's on screen because it will slow the game down hardcore. So you've just got to be real careful with that. So if we press it, okay, it looks like nothing happened, but if we move out of the way, it is there. So it's basically just creating this block. I mean, you could even create something like this. Like, I'll show you something cool. If we go to this, if we go to obj attack and we change it to obj through, how cool is this going to be? Watch this. So if we go, we'll just erase these blocks here. You can actually create a block that you can jump on. So if we go X, there it is there. You jump up. How cool is that? So you can that's another mechanic you could do if you really wanted to. So yeah, that's pretty neat. You don't even have to have a cap on it if you don't want to. You could be like this. You could go, we'll just green out this area. So it just says if when you're pressing attack, it'll do this. So if we go like this, it's just going to be ridiculous. Because it's, right, if we go like that, jump up, that, jump up, that, jump up. How cool is that? That is awesome. Only problem is because it's tied to a when the button's being pressed, like not pressed but like held down, it'll do this. So I mean, who knows? Maybe you want that, but it's probably not advisable. Like, yeah, yeah, it's pretty. It's kind of fun actually. I like that. There's like this really odd shape. So if we go, it just, yeah, you don't want to do that because it's not a good idea. Okay, it's just not a good idea. I was just having fun. Okay, call this attack. Okay, so that's why we've got the limit here of instance number one, instance obj attack as less than one, then create the attack block because it would just spam a whole buttload of them on there, and we don't want that. So instance create attack, awesome. So that it now creates that. But the problem is the attack just stays here. It doesn't do anything. It just sits on screen. That's not cool. Now depending on what you wanted to do, uh, we'll just get to the basics of it first. We want it to sort of disappear after a while, don't we? So, all right, we'll go. Maybe I should do that first. I'm just thinking. Uh, All right. Well, we don't really know which way the player's facing, do we? We've only got these buttons being pressed. That's all we have. We don't have any way of knowing which way the player's facing. So, what I like to do is we'll just leave a couple of lines in the create event for the player. So yeah, this is just the create event and the code that it's executed. So we'll call this one global.fr equals we'll call it, yeah, so it will be facing to the right, global.fr global.fl equals 0. So it can either go facing right or facing left. You can't do both because that would just confuse the, I mean, you could if you wanted to, but it's, yeah, don't even go there. I don't know why you'd want to face both directions at once. It'd be silly. So yeah, so we've got face right, face left. So by default, face right is set to 1. So it's facing right. So we're just going to create a bit of code underneath the gravity here. Oops, facing direction. So if global.right is equal to 1, then execute this code. Then global.fr equals to 1 and global.fl is equal to 0. See how I'm kind of building up a the game by layers kind of thing. Like I'm just sort of doing the basic movement first, and then I'm kind of adding little extra bits on top. This is all about like how you design it. So it kind of helps if you have a proper plan in place. Okay, so there we go. Else, if global.l is equal to 1, then well, we could just copy this code. Actually, be a lot easier. There we go, and then we'll get rid of that to 0 and that to 1. Problem is, if we press both keys at the same time, then it will still mess with this. So we want to go and global.l is equal to 0. And global.l, L is equal to 0. So basically we've got, so if you're pressing the right button and the left button is not being pressed, then it'll set the facing right to 1. Or else, if maybe we don't even need the else there. I don't know. It might, because it just executes this anyway, so who cares? Yeah, I use a lot of if statements. Probably there's all these other complicated ones that I've seen like people using on YouTube for tutorials, and It's probably the better way to go, to be honest, what they're doing, but I got to do what works for me, and it's probably not like the most recommended way of doing it, like I've said previously, but it works for me, and it makes a fairly like good enough game. So for anyone that's just starting out, so I'm just really trying to simplify it, but I hope I'm not like over explaining it and making it too complicated for you, because yeah, I have a habit of doing that. um, I see a problem here. So I accidentally copy and pasted that, and that is an L. I want that to be an R. Okay, so if R is at 0 and you're pressing left, then it'll face left. Because before it was like, if L is at 1, but L is also at 0, then face left. So that doesn't make sense. That would cause a lot of problems later on. But hey, nothing's broken that bad that you can't fix it. Don't ever be afraid to just give shit a go, because, I mean, if I can do it, you can. And yeah, you're not going to break anything. It's just a game, you know. It's your own project. It's that you can't accidentally create a virus that'll just fry your entire computer or anything like that. It's just a fun project, sort of thing. So, right, we've got oh, we know what way we know what way the character's facing now. One thing that's really handy about GameMaker is you to be able to view, like, keep track of a variable, like whatever you've created. Say we want to see if the character's facing right or left. So we'll go click the right mouse button in player, go add event, go to draw, go to draw. Then we go to control, and then we click execute code with the right mouse button to just put it there. Saves you dragging and dropping. So now if we want to, like, oh, actually no, sorry. We don't need the code. Delete. We need to just use this one here. This is the quickest way. This is what I always use. So draw variable. So we click that with the right mouse button, sorry. And then you can write the variable. So what one do we want to look at? Global dot face right. And we want to have it relative or relative. And then we're gonna make it go to the right of the player so we can see it. It'll go to 1 or 0. If it goes to 1, it means we're facing right. If it goes to 0, it means we're not. So, so X, we're going to make it, say, 32 pixels to the right of the player. Because remember, minus is to the left, and that is to the right. So we're going to copy this and paste it, and we're going to draw another variable, which is face left. And you guessed it, it is minus 32. So done. So now if we go to run the game, we hopefully should be able to see if face right is equal to 1 and vice versa. Okay, see, it's not drawing the sprite, it only draws the variables. We can fix that. We'll just go to draw. And for some reason, whenever you draw something in the draw menu, it will only draw what's in the draw menu. So we'll just go to draw, and we go to draw sprite, and then we'll click on the right mouse button, and we'll just go to our default one. We're not doing any animations yet, so we don't really need to worry about like, because with this it's kind of hard to animate stuff. We just want to keep track of where it is at this stage and where these variables are. So let's have a look. Alright, so we've got facing right is equal to 1. So if we press left, it'll turn those numbers around. It just switches them. See? So facing right, facing left, facing right, facing left. So yeah, and we can still jump on them in the middle of it all. We press attack button. It does nothing, but we move out of the way and it's placed the block right behind us, which is really strange. So how do we fix that? We don't want it to be like on top of the player. That's ridiculous. Well, now that we've created our facing left and facing right variables, we can determine what direction we want the attack block to appear. Now, what the hell is the attack block? I haven't really explained it very well, have I? Sorry about that. It is basically as a block that if, say you're going to do punch or whatever, you can have it appear on either side. Or if it's a bullet, you can have it appear on either side. So if we want it, you could the possibilities are endless basically, depending on what weapon you want to have. If you want it to be a melee attack, then you can have it do that, and then like whatever's in this block, say the enemy, will be defeated. So yeah, in short, that's what it is. Sorry, overcomplicated that again. So yeah, well now we've created these variables here. I'm just going to move it a little bit more to the right, so it's kind of balanced a bit more. These it's not really, this is just my personal preference. I just like to, I'm real OCD. Oh no, it's still too close to the player there and not enough there, but I don't know, it's fine. I like it. What if we just go 48? That should work. Sometimes it's a lot of trial and error. I do a lot of trial and error. I just adjust a couple of numbers and then I run the game again. And it can be quite tedious, but hey, that's game design. Oh yeah, see, there we go. It's more evenly spread on both sides. Now, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just, just to keep track of the variables for now. We don't even really need them anymore since we know they work. So we just need to go into the script, and then we've got attack. Yeah, so we're only just creating the attack block. We haven't got it set up, so like it depends on what way you're facing. But now I've created those variables, we can add that. So if we go space and then go and global dot fr is equal to 1, then and global dot fl is equal to 0, just to keep things even Stevens. So if you're facing right and facing left is at 0, then it will create this at plus 32. Okay, so that should work. And then we'll copy this code because we want it to go the opposite way, don't we? So we go paste. Right, so if you're attacking, instance attack is smaller than 1. Yeah, so if the attack button is, the attack block is smaller than 1, then, and this is at 0, and this one is now at 1, then instance create attack. But it's still creating it to the right of the player. So what did I say? The very first episode was plus is to the right and minus is to the left when it comes to X. Whereas with Y, minus is up and plus is down. So yeah, just keep reminding you. So now, if we run the game, just to see, it's always important to check up on your changes. If you make a little change, then check up on it. So now we're facing right. If we press attack, it puts the attack block to the right. Okay, so that's great. What if we're to the left? We have to rerun the game again. Sorry, I don't have a restart button. In fact, I might actually put that on there to make it a lot easier. Okay, so now we face left. Okay, now we press the attack button, and it is right there. So it's spawning right next to the player. That's perfect for a punch. If you want him to attack, that's perfect. So what do we do from here? Well, you don't actually have to have it just stay there, depending on what you want it to do. So we go into the attack block settings itself. We can go click the right mouse button, go to add event, create. and then we go to add a code and just put if global dot fr is equal to 1, then execute this code. So, which will be h speed equals equals what? We'll just go 8 for now. Oh, equals 8. Yep, sweet. Or else if keep it consistent, even though there's not really any need to. Global dot fl equals 0, and far out. Global dot fr equals 0. Cool. So it'll create -8. So if it's facing left, it'll shoot that way. If it's facing right, it'll shoot that way. So let's have a look, see if it works. I'll put the restart button soon, so we don't have to fully reboot the game again from scratch. So we go attack, look, and it's gone. That's awesome. So we will. You don't have to have a limit on it. We'll scroll right down. Yeah, but we will have. I'm not going to mess with this code because we've just finished making it. So yeah. So we know it works anyway for that direction. We're just going to create a restart button to make it a little bit easier. So we go to our settings and go right mouse button, go to add event, go to key pressed. Actually, no, just go to keyboard. So if you're holding the button down, we'll go to others. No, it's not right. Letters. Okay. Why not? We'll just make the R key restart. So go to control. Oh no, is it main? Oh yeah, main 2, and it's got restart here, I think. Restart the game. Yep. So now all we have to do is, if we do something, we can just press R to restart the whole game. So we press attack and it shoots, and now we can't press it anymore because we've only set a limit to 1 on screen. So we've got to destroy it somehow. But what you can do is hit the R button now because we've got to restart, and it'll restart the game from scratch. And now you can just press attack again and it should work. So that way, that works. That's awesome. So yeah, it's depending on what you wanted to have. If you wanted to have a melee attack, what you wouldn't have like a movement here. So maybe have like a melee attack and a bullet later on, depending on your you'd have to create another variable for weapons, and yeah, just figure it all out. But we'll get to that. So get to that eventually. But what we will do is we'll just make this a melee attack for now because I think it's important. So if we go to expiry, we'll just type in expiry. Equals, we'll go 30 milliseconds. Go to OK. So with the attack, we've removed the directions because we don't want it to move just yet. We're going to make this just a melee attack now. But you could have kept it as it was and added expiry on it if you so wish, but we're not going to. So expiry equals 30. So what the hell is expiry? Well, basically we want this to expire in 30 milliseconds. So how do we place that? So we go click the right mouse button, go to add event, go to step, and then we're going to execute another piece of code here. Alright, so if expiry, it doesn't have to be a global variable, this one either. This is just like temporary, sort of one that only is relatable to the object attack itself. So if expiry is larger than 0, execute this, which is expiry minus equals 1. Okay, copy that, and we're just going to hit enter a couple of times to lower it down. Now we slam it in here. So if expiry is equal to 0, oops, sorry about that. Instance destroy. So what this is doing is it's destroying the object. The object being obj attack. So when it flicks through these milliseconds, as soon as it's created, it will. So you press the attack button, it'll create the attack block, this block here, the yellow one, and it'll set a thing called expiry. So when expiry is set to 30, it'll know what to do in the when it's constantly checking in the step event. So if expiry is equal to 0, then it will destroy itself. Well, how's it going to know that unless it's minusing it? So if expiry is larger than 0, then it'll expiry will go to minus equals 1. So it'll just keep counting down, chopping down one by one unit every time as soon as it's been created. And here it won't go past 0 because we've got like this little supporter here says if it's above 0. So when it hits 0, it'll just stop and it'll just stay at 0. Otherwise, if we just went expiry minus equals 1, it'll just keep counting down and go to minus infinity or whatever because it will just keep going. So yeah, so when it's counting down and it'll stop at 0 because we've got this, and then when it's at 0, it'll destroy itself. So that's perfect. So let's try it out. Right, so we're facing right, we press the attack button. So yeah, problem is when you're moving, it's not moving with the player, but we can fix that later. But basically, we've got the block so it spawns and then disappears. So that's ideally what you want. We can have it move with the player, or we can have the player stop when it is created, and just so in Castlevania you'll have it so the character, whenever you're attacking in the first Castlevania for Nintendo Entertainment System, your character will stop as they're attacking. That's like what happens. He'll go, and then you go. So yeah, whereas maybe in the sort of more recent like games, like you can attack whilst moving. So you go and then like the block will go in front of you. So we could do that if we wanted to. Like if you wanted to make it sort of more modern, like you want to hit while you're moving. But I think attacking while staying still is like it puts you at a disadvantage as well as an advantage. So if anything's in front of you, it'll get hit. But everything's behind you, you're still vulnerable because you're stopping in one place. Not only does Castlevania do this, but Alex Kidd does this as well. So when you're punching in Alex Kidd, it'll just create like basically a little collision with his fist or and like the dragon or whatever that's there. So yeah, that is that. So we don't really want. So with moving right, we'll add this on to all of these. So and instance obj, instance number, I should say. Man, I'm going too far ahead of myself. Instance number obj attack is at 0. If attack is at 0, it will move, and when you're pressing the right button. So we're going back over our old moving code. It's important. So what we're doing is we're making it so the character stops when they attack. That true Castlevania style attack. So we're just going to copy and paste this on each one of these. And that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. Okay, there's probably a lot smaller code that allows you to do it in like just one line, but this is how I do things. So yeah. You want to watch Sean Spaulding do his tutorials, go watch his tutorials. But to be honest, his ones kind of confuse me a lot, so I just do whatever. Not calling him out. He like he's obviously really good at what he does, but I just can't, like, my brain just doesn't work that way. So now we've got this. So if attack is at 0, it should, when we press the attack button whilst walking, it should just stop the player. Maybe the attack is a little bit too long, but we can fix that. So yeah, as we're moving, we're pressing the button, the character will stop. So it's really neat. Yeah, the only problem is when you're attacking and jumping, but we can fix that as well. So yeah, it's just a real pain in the butt. Yeah, it goes for a bit too long. So we'll fix a couple of things. It's just all about tweaking once you've got the basic foundation down. So go into attack block, maybe change this to like say 20 seconds, 20 milliseconds. Yep, this code still is relevant. It doesn't say that it has to be at 20. It just says if it's above 0, then minus it. So that's great. So it should disappear a little bit quicker now when we press attack. So it's still not following the player though, but we can fix this. So we will go to object attack, go to this step event. We'll just put it right at the top here. So we're going to go y equals obj underscore player dot y. So we want it to be exactly where the player's y is. I reckon that's pretty cool. So if we go to this, it should hopefully follow the player when you're jumping and not just be left in space. There we go. I mean, it's not perfect, of course, but yeah, so that's the attack button there done. Awesome. So that's cool. That's the attack done. We've covered quite a bit today, haven't we? So if we go to the player sprite and spr underscore enemy, we'll call it. Go to go to edit sprite, then create a new one. Where is it? New, and then just make this double like the other one is. Just go into this, and we're going to obviously make it stereotypically red. Cool. Then we just create a new object. Obj enemy, and then okay, so we've got this. Just create a step event for enemy. If it is, if place meeting X, Y, OBJ attack, then instance destroy. Cool. So when it's touching the block, you're probably wondering why I didn't go through here, the collision thing. You can do that as well. There's more ways, more than one way of doing it. So, yeah. Oh, it's not going to do anything because I didn't put an enemy in the in the thing. We can code enemies like later on, but I just thought I'd show you this anyway. We'll just spawn one enemy in the room. So go to our room, go to put them in there. Maybe one over here. Why not? Just to show that the right one works as well. Okay, so there they are, just chilling, and you just walk up to them and go, and it disappears, and then, I mean, they don't even have to be enemies. They could just be like walls or something, and you could be just this OP like character that just smashes walls. Maybe you could have destructible walls somewhere. That'd be cool. So yeah, the possibilities are absolutely endless. And that's why I love Gamemaker. It's simple for like me to understand, and hey, if I can do it, you can. Like I really do believe you can do it because yeah, I'm not the smartest person out there. And you've got to just code it to there's no one size fits all when it comes to coding things. Um like I think you've just got to do things the way you like it suits you because yeah, the way, like I said, I've watched a lot of tutorials and like on how to do this over the years, and a lot of them just haven't been the way I code. Like it's not when you're watching someone coding, like this video here, like this is just the way I do it. When you start doing it yourself, you'll find other ways of doing things, and probably a lot better ways of doing things than the way I do it. Um, and you will like just get your own style, your own sort of feel for it. Whereas, watching someone doing it, it's sort of, it doesn't really, like, you've got to be in the front lines, really. You just got to sort of, I don't know. I'm just trying to, yeah, you can do it. I know you can. You got to sort of have your, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, you'll get a feel for it anyway. So if we restart, smash, smash. So yeah, I don't know how long we've been going for, but I hope you've enjoyed this so far. I'm just going to throw in this one for a bonus. So basically, we're going to create another one, another sprite called. We'll create a bullet this time. Oh, what the hell is this? I don't want to open anything. Get out of here. Um, duplicate. Right, change the color. So we're going to make this an orange kind of color somehow. I don't know where the. Oh, there we go. That's better. And we'll just call this SPR bullet. Cool. So you might not want to do like an attack button or whatever. Like I mean, you might want to do like sorry, I've been doing this for too long. I've gone brain dead. Okay, so yeah, you might want to have it so they will copy this and they can shoot a bullet instead of bloody. Sorry, I gotta finish what I'm saying. Um, instead of like punching, you want to create a bullet, right? So uh, we don't have an object for it yet, so we'll just leave it like that. I've just basically duplicated the attack code, so I can mess with this part and just keep the attack code there because we don't want to override it. Because if you do that, then yeah, it's bad. You've got something that works, so why would you get rid of it? So right, we have to create another object called. We'll duplicate this one anyway. Obj bullet. Okay, and we're going to change the sprite that represents it to the orange one that we just created. So it's still got the expiry there. I think that's really handy to have because you can put that on this as well. It is going to be maybe not so. Maybe you don't need to have it with the same. It doesn't need to stay the same Y as the player, so they can get rid of that because it's a bullet. A bullet doesn't just jump up and down with you when you fire it while jumping in the air. It's just silly. Okay, so we have now we've got expiry as at 20. We're gonna maybe just boost it to like 40 or something. Okay, and it's still going to expire, but we also want to make it so it goes depending on what direction we're facing in. So if global.fr equals 1 and global.fl equals 0, then oops, then and oh sorry x, no, that's not right. Yeah, you can set the horizontal speed to 8. Or so there's two different types of speed in this. I've noticed there's the X speed, or like you've got the horizontal speed, which is like basically just like the settings for speed. Basically, it's hard to explain, but basically they've got you've got horizontal speed and vertical speed, but you've also, if you wanted to, we could go, so that'll create that when it starts. Oh, yeah, no, never mind. I'm just overcomplicating it. Just never forget what I said. Okay, so when the object's created, it'll set because I just realized the way I was saying it was it wouldn't have ended well because it would have just made things more complicated. It wouldn't have worked for the game either. So right, we've got when you're shooting right, it'll go 8, and then when you're shooting left, it'll go -8. So that's cool. Done. Now we've got to adjust the code. And you could have these tied to different weapons, so I'll get to that later on. We'll call this one bullet. That's what it was, wasn't it? Yep, cool. Make sure you copy and paste that in there. Oops, sorry, I just bumped the mic. So maybe take out the limitation for it. Oh, no, we'll just keep that there for now. Right, let's just run the game anyway and see what happens. All right. So we've got oh. Whoa. Okay, so it is just creating them like this. It looks like a flamethrower. You can do that if you want, but we want only. This is what happens when you only create. These are destroying themselves. We'll just shoot. Yeah, sweet as. They are destroying themselves when they're. So it kind of works. It'd be an awesome little thing. So yeah, we will change that. I've screwed up because I've got it so it only checks if the attack block is smaller than 1. But we will have it so it checks if bullet is smaller than 1. I'm probably gonna have to hop off soon. I've been doing this for too long and I'm kind of going brain dead. You know, when you do something for too long, it's like, oh, okay, so yeah, bam, shoots 1. So even if you're holding the button down now, it'll just do one, which is cool. So we want enemies to be destroyed when they get that as well. So this is basically the code version of, but this is constantly checking if it's colliding with this. This is basically the code version of going to add event, collision, and then going to whichever. So we're going to keep it that way because we want to be constantly checking if it's colliding with this. So we're going to copy this, bam, bam, slap, and then go, oops, what's it called? Bullet. So now if bullet is touching it, it will destroy itself also. But the bullet will not destroy itself. So what do? It just rips right from. That can be useful, but we kind of want it to destroy itself when it touches the enemy. So we go to the bullet and we go to step event, and then we'll just go down the bottom here. Or maybe not, maybe keep it at the top. We've got it copied and pasted already from when we did it last time, but we're going to do it. We're going to write it out anyway. So if place underscore meeting x comma y comma obj bullet. Enemy. If you're colliding with enemy, then we're going to instance destroy. Done. Just do all that. So the bullet should hopefully now destroy itself. And no, it's not. What the hell is going on with it? Oh, it's place meeting of enemy. Yeah, that should be working. I don't get why it's not. Is it because enemies not? Yeah, nah, screw it. Alright, we'll get rid of that code. It's not working. If it doesn't work, get rid of it. So if we go to that, add event, collision with enemy, then execute code, instance destroy. Then go like that. So it should work now. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, it's destroying, but it's not destroying it's not destroying the enemy though, is it? So the way to get around that is delete what we just did. Right, these are the puzzles you have to solve. So now because we'll go into enemy again, and because we have this code here, we can just copy the instance destroy and go and paste that in there, and then we're just going to put obj underscore bullet, and we're just going to copy this again. Now, it's dangerous to do this because if the bullet isn't there, and so it's, yeah, for some reason the bullet's not there, when it's collided, then it will have a massive fit and be like, well, the bullet's not there, massive, and it'll just present you with an error. So we just want to cover our base here and go and instance number obj bullet is larger than 0. going to copy that and then smack that on the end there. So, it should work this time, hopefully. Man, what's up with all the air traffic? It's so annoying. It's supposed to be in lockdown. What the hell's going on? Well, yeah. So, yay. Start again. Bam, bam. Target down. So you don't have to have punch. You can have shoot if you want to. And you can even have, like, obviously different weapons and stuff, like pickups. So, yeah. I should probably wrap it up now, but okay, well, we'll do one more thing. Uh, no, we won't. We won't do one more thing. Sorry, I was going to, but it's gone on for long enough, and you guys are probably bored shiteless. So we will save our work for what we've done, and we will end it there. So if you want to see more, let me know. If you don't, then yeah, just let me know. I don't mind doing them. I've done. There's a lot of gameplay footage of like Dead by Daylight and stuff on there at the moment. So I haven't really done much creative work, so I thought this might be something interesting for people to watch. But you know, I can do drawing and stuff too. I got Krita open here. I've been doing another animation for Nigel, that movie guy. I'm just preparing it. So um, he's going to be playing all of the Castlevania games until like well, hopefully he said he'd finish them all before Halloween to lift Dracula's curse of 2020. So yeah, here's hoping he achieves his goal. But I made a video on the channel if you haven't already caught it of Dracula basically mocking him. Just sort of, you know, he's like, you think you've got what it takes to defeat me? So yeah, it's just all good fun, and I love doing creative stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this, and wherever you are, whoever you are, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.